How does UConn avoid a letdown tonight against Marquette? You're locked on.
You are Locked On UConn, your daily podcast on the UConn Huskies, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for making Locked On UConn your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. This episode is brought to you by Nissan. Are you the kind of driver that likes to push things a little further? Ever wonder what adventure could be around the next corner? Take the Nissan Rogue, Nissan Pathfinder, or Nissan Armada and go find your next big adventure. Check them all out today at nissanusa.com. We are here with legendary coach Cy Alexander, giving us a coach's perspective today. Cy, let's dig right in. I'm going to put you through the paces, man. You're Dan Hurley. How do you get your team to not have a letdown coming off a 30-point senior night win against Seton Hall?
Well, Mark, let me first of all say it's an honor to be a part of your podcast, Locked On, and I'm just ecstatic to have the opportunity to share this time with you. But back to your question, it's March. It's March. It's March Madness. This is what you play for if you're a college basketball student athlete. So regardless of what you did last game out, it's now you getting ready for the madness. Mm-hmm. And so that's the easiest way. You're coming off being the defending national champions. So you have no other recourse than to be ready to play basketball. And I don't think it's going to be a hard chore at all for Coach Hurley to get his young men ready. They haven't gotten this far. They've won the regular season in the Big East. They understand they've got a bullseye on their backs, but that's what they play for. They have the sign on the floor saying the basketball capital of the world as far as UConn is concerned. So, they understand this is what it's all about. So I really, to be quite honest with you, I don't think there would be any problems for Coach Hurley to get his Huskies ready to play tonight.
No, it is interesting when you do see them play and they're home and it does say the basketball capital of the world. And that has something to do with UConn women as well, with how many titles they have, how many titles UConn men have had. So, and how many times they've done it in the same year. So shout out to my home state and my Huskies. They are, we're all.
My dad got his master's degree from the University of Connecticut.
What was that? Who did?
My father.
But look at this. I didn't even know that side. You're a family already. Come on, man. UConn, that's huge. That the UConn fans will love that. I think the reason why I asked that question is because College Game Day visited UConn and we saw a really intimate portrayal of Dan Hurley. I think Seth Greenberg did it on ESPN, and it really kind of highlighted his intensity and like what he wants. Like his standard is, they call it the standard, right? Winning a national championship. And one of the things that even last year, they didn't win the Big East regular season title. They've done that this year. They've checked that box. So it's kind of like a redemption for them, which is wild, right? And then the other aspect of it is they didn't win the Big East tournament. So I look at these two games as first with Marquette and then again end of the week against Providence as kind of like warm-ups for the Big East tournament, because he knows that he's got to get them geared up and ready for Madison Square Garden. Do you agree with that?
I agree with it 100%. And you're playing, obviously, a first-rate opponent in Marquette tonight. Marquette is coming into the basketball game with in second place, a 14-1 record at home. It means they very rarely lose at home. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think tonight is senior night for Marquette. So Marquette, and they're coming off a bad loss to Connecticut in the first time they played each other. So they will be ready to play. So all of these things over the last couple of days, Coach Hurley and his staff have tried to get in the brain of the young men that they have on their team. But again, these guys are national champions. They understand, what it's going to take to repeat or get back to that Final Four. Having to win 6 games in a row is really, really not easy. So already they're looking at tonight's game and the finishing game against Providence as tournament games. They're in the playoffs already, and they understand, as you well know, survive and advance. So what they want to do tonight is have a tournament mentality because, again, Mark, it is March, and this is if you're a college basketball fan, if you're a college basketball player, coach, whatever, this is what you work 11 months out of the year for to get ready for this.
No, I agree. And I think the other aspect that is really interesting is UConn was picked 3rd in the Big East this year. They lost 3 NBA players and 2 transfers, one that just graduated, one that went to St. John's. So they had to fill some of those gaps, right? And obviously they've done that really well. But I think Dan Hurley uses that as motivation for sure. We talk about kind of perception and kind of getting people in the right kind of tournament mindset. Nothing makes a person work harder than a chip on their shoulder, kind of like no one believed in you, even with all the accolades that UConn is, the defending national champion. They're going for back-to-back, etc. I feel like this team really kind of mirrors his passion of no one really believed in you. We're still thriving and trying to do something that hasn't been done since 2006 with Florida. So I think that's also part of it too. Go ahead.
Just piggybacking off what you just spoke about, it's what I call the underdog mentality. And I had that my entire coaching career, having to do more with less. And you brought that chip on your shoulder every day to every meeting, to every practice, to every film session. And that's how when you bring it, your players, your staff, they see that and they rally around that. So I'm sure that Coach Hurley is bringing that, hey, guys, we're still not getting the respect that we deserve. So let's go out here and earn the respect. Let's earn the accolades, because nobody's just going to say, oh, Connecticut, they're Duke or they're North Carolina. They're having to prove that. So again, Coach Hurley is focusing and approaching these next 2 ball games and into the Big East tournament that we're going to earn the respect of the fans, of the media, of the other team. And again, that propels you every day to come into the office, to come in to practice, hey, wanting to prove that you're deserving of being the national champions from last year.
No, I couldn't agree more. And before we go on to the second segment, I have one quick question for you. Marquette's without Tyler Kolek, their dynamic point guard. He's out for the game. I believe Stevie Mitchell is their backup. He had 15 points against Creighton. He's a solid player. He's nothing like Kolek. He's righty. He's kind of a different style. If you're again, Dan Hurley, do you do anything different there? Are you trying to pressure him more to see if he crumbles and kind of stave that tide of senior night and that emotional lift they'll probably get?
As we talked earlier, Mark, at this point in the season, you dance with who brung you, as I heard Coach Hubie Brown once say. You do right now what you have done all season, what got you there. So I don't think they're going to change their defensive game plan because Kolek is not in the ball game.
Gotcha.
They're gonna do what they do defensively and make sure whether the Warriors can handle it or not. So it now is not the time when you're talking about you're 26-3 and you've won the regular season in the Big East. Obviously, what you have been doing is working. You don't want to, start if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So it's not broke. So what you want to do is make sure your young men. The most important thing at this stage of the season, as far as coaches are concerned, is two things. One, staying healthy. That's number one.
Yep.
Staying healthy. And two, getting rest. Making sure your guys are mentally and physically focused because they've had the rest. You spend as much time, Mark, right now in the film room as you do on the basketball court. If you're there for an hour and 15 minutes, well, 30 of those minutes have been filled in the film room. And then you come out and you go through 45 minutes of hard, of getting yourself ready to play. But no, he's not going to change anything. They're going to be who they are. And they got the chip on their shoulder. They're going to continue to have that and make sure that Marquette understands. And what Coach Hurley has got to do and the staff has got to do is make sure his young men understand what the hornet's nest that they're going into tonight, because it's a senior night. They beat them pretty soundly a few weeks ago, and it's going to be, hey, guys, this is a prelude to what could potentially be the championship game of the Big East tournament. So it's not going to be any doing anything new. It's just going to be what we do. Let's do it right.
For sure. And I think you're spot on there. It could end up being a Final Four matchup as well.
No doubt.
Well, you guessed it. We put Side through the paces on the UConn side. We're going to see what he thinks Shaka Smart is going to do to stop this UConn machine coming up. Are you the kind of driver that likes to push things a little further? Ever wonder what adventure could be around the next corner? Our friends at Nissan have a lineup of SUVs with capabilities to take your adventure to the next level. The 2024 Nissan Rogue is the perfect for city drives and great escapes. Class exclusive, Google built-in, is your always updating assistant to call on for almost anything. Gone are the days of connecting your phone. Google Assistant, Google Maps, and Google Play Store are built right into the 12.3-inch HD touchscreen infotainment system. The 2024 Rogue is the perfect mid-size crossover for your next adventure. Nissan's incredible lineup also includes the 2024 Nissan Pathfinder. Has up to room up to 8 and expansive cargo capacity, advanced available 4x4 capability with a 284 horsepower and up to 6,000 pounds of towing. When adventure calls, the Pathfinder is there to answer. Just a reminder, Locked On has launched a first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Now it's also available on Amazon Fire TV in the free Fire TV channels app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today, now available on the free Fire TV channels app today. All right, Coach, let's talk about the Marquette side. You're Shaka Smart. How do you stop? This is something I wanted to talk to you about for probably a couple months now. I have ideas of how I would try to do it, but you've been in this industry for 50 years. What does Shaka Smart do? They lost by 28 points on the road. You're without your starting point guard. You're preseason All-American, preseason Big East Player of the Year. He's not going to win it this year. How do you stop UConn with all of that on your plate?
Well, the number one thing that Marquette has to do differently tonight versus the last outing against UConn is they've got to stop the three ball. Mm-hmm. They allowed Marquette to shoot 52% from the three line the last time
UConn did. UConn
not only did they not defend the three ball, they did a poor job, period, defensively. You're not going to beat Connecticut, or you're not going to beat very many teams when you allow teams to shoot 50% from the field and over 50% from the three line. Shaka Smart, as you well know, has made his reputation on being aggressive defensively. That's who they are. When you talk about the two things that Shaka Smart believes in, one, he believes in relationship building. His teams having great chemistry, believing in each other. That's why they take chances on defense, because the relationship means that I know Mark has my back. Two, that's why they play the aggressive style of defenses that they have played over the years that Coach Smart has been involved in coaching. And two, he's been a great teacher of creating havoc on defense.
That's what they call it. That's the title. That's, the havoc.
And so
defense.
Tonight, what better time? You're talking about, you're coming off a big time loss against Connecticut on the road. You got all these things supposedly, statistically would say, or analytics would say. One, you're at home. Teams normally play better at home. The biggest home court advantage in all of sports is in basketball, because the fans are closer to the action. That's one. Two, it's senior night. This is the last time for a number of these guys to come out and to play in Milwaukee in front of their home fans. Three, they're in second place. They're 14-1. And now you'd like to end the season on starting a winning streak going into the weekend and into the Big East tournament. So it's not going to take a Newt Rockne, fire and brimstone type of pregame speech for his young men tonight. For the three reasons I've already shared, they're going to be ready to play. Plus, they're talented, they're good, and they feel like if they're going to, make a statement, they might as well make a statement against UConn tonight. So I look for Marquette to do a much better job defensively, particularly against the three ball. I look for them to come out and play at a high level of aggressiveness on defense. I look for them to share the basketball and try to send their seniors out with the W. And I would not, and I don't even know if you call it an upset because it give or take, could not. But
I would call it an upset for the simple reason that not because it's UConn and they're 2 in the country. It's because UConn is also, I think they're 6-3 on the road overall. They have played Kansas to a last possession in Fog Allen. This is when Kansas was full strength, not Kansas of today with all the injuries they've had. Also, I think it would be an upset because they're without Tyler Kolek, who really was a non-factor because of UConn's defense. They have bigger guards. They really kind of put a lot of pressure on him, caused them into more turnovers. But I would call it an upset, and that's the only thing I would differ. I think everything you're saying is true. I think UConn needs to strap it in because they're coming after them tonight. But I would call it an upset because without Kolek, to have a backup come in and compete at that level, I'm sure he's wonderful. I know he can score, but Kolek's impact, his ability to pass, get other people involved, that's how Marquette has been elite, or one of the elite programs over the last couple of years.
I can agree with that, and I did not take Kolek's injury into my perspective, and that's a very key point that you're making. But upset or not upset, it's going to be one heck of a basketball game.
Yeah, I mean, anytime it's a top 10 matchup, it's borderline, right? It's a home game. So Marquette, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, taking my UConn fandom away, Marquette should win. They should at minimum keep this very close, have a chance to win at the end.
It's a 5-point
spread, right?
White knuckler.
Yeah,
as,
I mean that's what the spread
calls.
is. That's what the betting line is. Cy, it's 5.5. So
yeah.
I waited on for us to talk about if they were going to lose their 6'11 Andre Iguodala, but he's playing. So I mean that helps them because, and we'll get into this in segment 3, but Marquette's not a great rebounding team. So we'll talk about some of the things that I expect later tonight. The other thing I would say, the other aspect I wanted to ask you about, and I think I already know the answer to this, but I wanted to see if there's a variation. Like, listen, Shaka Smart's not going to go zone. I know that. So I'm not asking that question. What I'm asking you is, in that Havoc style, right? Could they do some variations where it's like trapping, knowing that they're going to have to create some turnovers, knowing they're going to have to kind of get the crowd involved, take chances, like you said, use that Shaka Smart creativeness of kind of the team being aggressive and together to potentially shake things up. I'm talking like you're man-to-man, but like you get flash blitzes to kind of try to give it up, and then you're scrambling. Is that something that you think you will potentially
employ? On this? What Marquette has worked on over the last couple days is their backside rotations from strong side to weak side, the quicker rotations. What I mean by that is if you're blitzing on the strong side, Connecticut is a good enough passing team to go from one pass, two pass to that third pass, not the second pass, but to that third pass, and have a spot up dynamite 3-point sharpshooter there ready to knock it down.
For
Knowing that they did not do a very good job of defending the 3-ball the last time. So they've worked at least 15 minutes a day in practice on bang, bang, rotation, bang, bang, rotation. Make sure that when that third pass is received, you're there on the catch, hands high. And now the strong side defenders who were involved potentially in a blitz or in a trap or whatever, they are sprinting, not jogging, but sprinting back to the lane to cover the lane. If the guy is late, or if that ball is if they try to drive it from the wing to the baseline, or from the wing to the middle, to create an odd situation, that they're there. So that's defensively, they're not going to change who they are.
For sure.
Because they're aggressive. That's how they play. That's how they built. But what they are going to do is make sure they improve on the imperfections that they had last time out. And I would bet, I did not see the first game, but I would bet that not being there on the catch allowed Marquette to, allow them to have had 50% 3-point shots against them. The other thing that they have got to do better, Mark, is they've got to shoot the 3-ball themselves better. They went, I think, 5 of 21 in the first game. So, that's something that if you're going to take 21 threes, you need to be making, hopefully 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 or somewhere in that range. But when you're shooting 5 of 21, you as a coach got to say, hell, we might want to slow this thing down a little bit. So that has got to be improved upon.
For sure. Well, we're going to get into the final segment of the day. But just to kind of tease something for you, we're also going to talk about what Cy's got going on. Got a couple projects I want you guys to check out. UConn fans, I think you'll love it. UConn fans are astute college basketball fans, so we'll get into that and what we're going to expect from tonight right after this. FanDuel sponsoring this segment. Get buckets with your first bet on FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, because right now new customers get $150 in bonus bets in any winning $5 bet. That's $150 if your bet wins. Bet on all your favorite NBA players, teams with quick bets, live same-game parlays, exclusive props, and more. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon. Shoot your shots. Okay, Coach. After all we've discussed today, from your experience, I know this is a UConn show. So give me first. I want you to give me, like you said, if UConn, if initially we kind of thought about it as an upset, but we both agree that it probably wouldn't be, or it could be because of the injury to Kolek. If Marquette comes out tonight, my expectation is this. I'm going to give you my expectation. You'd give me yours. So my expectation is we're going to get a really energized team. They're going to come out and with their hair on fire, try to create turnovers. If the first couple of shots fall, from the outside, if they get into a rhythm, there's an opportunity that Marquette really stays in this game and potentially controls it. I think my issue is UConn on the road, and this is, as a coach, better than anybody. The whistle at home and the whistle on the road are two different things. Let's just be honest, right? And in the Big East,
you said that I didn't.
Yeah. Well, you're not coaching anymore. You can't. I'm telling you, man. You had 392 wins. You would have had like 420 if the whistle went your way more. No, I'm saying that for this instance, with Donovan Clingan on the floor, UConn is an elite basketball team because you have to pick your poison. Do you just allow him to dominate the paint? Do you not help? But when he comes out, they have to start blitzing on pick and roll. The rotations aren't the same. The defensive level drops a little bit. So if those two things, if Marquette can control the game early with their energy, and if the whistle tends to trend towards Marquette early, it could propel Marquette to a win. What are your thoughts?
Well, the thing about Connecticut that I like about their team is that they're so well balanced. And when you talk about, you got a guy like Donovan Clingan, who's at 7'2", 7'3", can pass the basketball.
Yep.
Is an excellent passer. Then you spot up. I remember I used to talk to Coach K, and one of the things he would always impress upon, he said, you always got to have, he said, you can be really good when you have 3 shooters on the court. He said you can be great when you got 4 potential 3-point shooters. And I think that's what Connecticut has. They have the ability to put the ball in the basket from a lot of areas on the court. And obviously, when your anchor is someone in the paint at 7'2", 7'3", you've got to make sure that you focus on that. So
for sure.
It gives so many options for Connecticut. And what Connecticut has to do, and you hit it on the nail on your first statement, is they've got to withstand the early onslaught that Marquette's going to bring. Marquette is going to come out, and that first, from the 20-minute mark till about the 14-minute mark, they're going to be on 100, as they say.
Crisp.
And so if you at the 7 or 8 minute mark and you Connecticut and you're only down 4 or 5 points, boom, you're right where you want to be. And
what if they're up? What if UConn's up? What if UConn's up at the second media timeout?
Oh, well, if UConn is up at the second media timeout, then all of a sudden now that the psyche of the whole thing has flipped.
Yeah,
it has flipped, and and I'm sure Coach Smart, who's an excellent basketball, you got 2 great coaches in this game tonight, and you got great players, and at this time of the season, you better have great players, because they get you to to the NCAA tournament. I mean, it's great to be a great coach, but man, you could be a great coach and have poor players, and you'll be watching it with me on the sideline, what have you. But again, I think the key for Connecticut is to be right where they need to be around the 5, between the 8 and the 5-minute mark of the first half. Up 2 or 3 points, down 2 or 3 points. But they need to be in that range, sure, score-wise. And then, come out the second half. See, I heard Tubby Smith, a good friend of mine, a NCAA tournament champion coach, and we coached against each other a lot. Tubby likes to say the most insignificant score of any game is the halftime score. And because, you got 20 more minutes, and sure, you basically don't worry about what you did the last 20 minutes, because you got to come out and play. And I always like to talk when I'm broadcasting games for HBCU Go, is that the first 5 minutes of the second half are the most crucial 5 minutes in a game, one way or another. If I'm up 8 points and I play really well the first 5 minutes, then I can take an 8-point lead to a 15-point lead. If I'm up 8 points and I play poorly the first 5 minutes of the second half, now all of a sudden it's a 1 or 2 point game. So I've always said that how you come out the first 5 minutes of the second half is really going to determine what happens now the last 4 minutes, whether it's going to be a game or whether it's not going to be a game. So again, I think what you'll see from Connecticut tonight is you'll see their true championship grit, and it's going to be one heck of a basketball game. With Kolick not being able to play, that's going to, because again, the point guard is just like the quarterback of a football team. You don't win many championships without a great quarterback on a football team. And you don't win many I took 6 teams to the NCAA tournament. All 6 of those teams had one common denominator. We had a very good point guard play.
For sure.
And I say the same thing tonight, that you got great point guard play from Connecticut. You got Connecticut has everything that you want in a championship team, Mark.
As they say, it's an embarrassment of riches. They're not a perfect team, but they're damn good. And they get, as you said, it's kind of like a pick your poison. We're running up against it, Si. Give everyone like a 30-second overview of some of the things you got going on personally and where they can find you. I put your Twitter handle. I know you don't use that a ton, but give them your Instagram and your Blueprint project that we've talked about off air.
Yes, it's right now the Blueprint series led by Ashley Samuels and Monty Ross. Monty Ross is the co-founder of 40 Acres and a Mule with Spike Lee. They are doing a documentary on my life, the Cy Alexander story, based on my book that I wrote, Beyond the Backboard, my unique HBCU experience in the shadows of big-time college basketball. And you can go to blueprint.net and look at it and review it, but it's coming soon. We're in production of it now. Or you can go to Coach Cy Alexander _ Cy Alexander and kind of get a preview of what it is, what it's about. But it's a documentary that I'm very proud of, and it talks about all the things that I did, all the things that I didn't do, the good, the bad, and how basically my thing was doing more with less, and not having the resources, but we were able to accomplish quite a bit during my 40-year coaching career.
Si, it's a pleasure. Always, we've worked together in the past. You're a good friend, and I appreciate you coming on. Before we go, just a quick reminder, Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube It's also available on Amazon Fire TV and the free Fire TV channels app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports. Now available free on Fire TV channels app. That's all from Locked On UConn. Ready for a great game tonight. For my co-host today, the great Cy Alexander, I'm Mark Neto, wishing you a peace, love, and of course, go Huskies.